You're watching South Asia Newsline, and here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Monday, the 3rd of March. India set for strong fourth quarter growth as government spending and rural recovery drive momentum, says report. Afghanistan's hunger crisis worsens as Ramadan begins, warns UN. And Adani's exit from $1 billion Sri Lanka project a big blunder, says opposition leader. And now for all the details. From government-led infrastructure spending to rural demand recovery, India's growth engine is picking up speed. With the IMF also backing a strong outlook, the country's economic future looks promising. A report.
India's economy is poised for robust growth in the fourth quarter of fiscal year 2025, driven by increased government spending, a recovering rural economy, and a likely surge in private investment, according to a report by financial services firm Centrum on Monday. The report projects an annual GDP growth of 6.5% for fiscal year 2025, with supportive monetary policies from the Reserve Bank of India expected to further accelerate economic expansion. The report highlights that the improving rural economy has played a crucial role in boosting consumption demand. Agricultural output expanded by 5.6% year-on-year, an improvement from the revised 4.1% recorded in the previous quarter. Increased consumer spending during the festive season and major national events such as the Maha Kumbh Mela have also contributed positively to demand, injecting vitality into the retail and tourism sectors. Strong capital expenditure by the government has been a major catalyst for economic momentum. Government spending rose 8.3% in Quarter 3 fiscal year 2025, a substantial increase from the 3.8% rise in the previous quarter. Infrastructure development, public welfare programs, and incentives for manufacturing have provided a solid foundation for sustained economic activity. Additionally, the RBI's recent interest rate cut, the first in nearly 5 years, has been a significant policy move aimed at stimulating economic activity. Last week, the International Monetary Fund also reaffirmed India's position as the fastest-growing major economy, projecting a GDP growth rate of 6.5% in 2025 to 26. The IMF attributes this strong performance to robust private investment and macroeconomic stability, which provide India with an opportunity to advance structural reforms and aim for advanced economy status by 2047.
Q3 GDP is quite impressive, 6.2, and I'm reasonably hopeful that the Q4 GDP will be much better, more particularly in view of this Kumbh, where more than 50-60 crore people have visited. So a lot of economic activities have taken place, transportation, travel, food, everything. So all services have taken a jump because of the Kumbh movement also. So that's why I am quite hopeful that we will be able to achieve what we have projected in 24-25.
Pakistan ruling PML-N party leader and former Federal Interior Minister Rana Sanaullah has sounded the alarm on the deteriorating security situation in Balochistan, warning that armed groups could seize control of the region if security measures aren't strengthened. Sanaullah described the situation as alarming and emphasized the need for strict action against militants. He also stressed the importance of bolstering the military presence to preserve national security and counter potential threats. However, his remarks have drawn mixed reactions from political figures and the public, with some analysts suggesting they reflect broader political and law and order issues in Balochistan. The warning comes amid a surge in armed attacks in Balochistan, with Baloch pro-independence groups intensifying operations against Pakistani security forces, government installations and Chinese-backed projects. Balochistan faces numerous challenges including state oppression, enforced disappearances and the extrajudicial killings of activists, scholars and ordinary citizens. The region is characterized by economic neglect, lack of development, poor infrastructure and limited political autonomy. In Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, the Neelum-Jhelum Hydropower project, despite significant national investment, has failed to meet its energy production goals. Locals demand accountability for the flawed construction, while experts question the project's design and its long-term impact on the region. A report.
In Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, a significant amount of money was invested from the National Treasury in the Neelum-Jhelum Hydropower project, yet it has failed to produce required electricity. Locals are urging the government to hold those responsible for the flawed construction accountable.
$5 अरब या $6 अरब, $5 अरब के करीब खर्च हुआ। आप उसको ज़रब तकसीम दें, बहुत ज़्यादा अमाउंट बन जाती है। और फिर बिजली जो पैदा नहीं हो रही है, तो ये सस्ती बिजली भी पैदा नहीं हो रही है, तो ये ओवरऑल पूरे पाकिस्तान का इस वक्त शदीद नुकसान हो रहा है। और फिर इसके ऊपर क्या इंक्वायरी हुई है, इसका जिम्मेदार कौन है इन सारी चीज़ों का, ये जो नाकस काम हुआ है इसका कौन जिम्मेदार है, ये भी कुछ पता नहीं चल रहा है। इसमें क्या कहाँ तक बात पहुंची है। अब ये इतना बड़ा मेगा प्रोजेक्ट है, तो इसमें तो बात पूरे मुल्क को करनी चाहिए कि आखिर 1000 मेगावाट किधर जाएगा।
As the massive project continues to underperform, local experts are cautioning its overall design and the long-term implications for the region.
इनको चाहिए था कि इस पूरे अरसे में छोटे छोटे प्रोजेक्ट्स बनाते, 1-1, 2-2, 3-3 मेगावाट के, जो कि यहाँ पे नालों पे आराम से बन सकते थे। इसके लिए प्राइवेट इन्वेस्टर जो है बाहर से भी लाए जा सकते थे, गवर्नमेंट उसको फैसिलिटेट कर सकते थे। ये सारा काम आज़ाद कश्मीर के अंदर बड़ी आसानी से हो सकता था। बिलखुसूस जो वादी नीलम है, वादी झेलम है, और ये जो मुजफ्फराबाद का डिवीजन है, और ये आप बाग तक चले गए, यहाँ इस पूरे एरिए के अंदर जो है नदी नाले जो हैं बड़े बड़े, और जो दरिया नीलम है ये बड़ा स्टीप है, यहाँ पे भी रन ऑफ द रिवर प्रोजेक्ट लग सकते थे। लेकिन बदकिस्मती से इस पे उस तरीके से काम नहीं हो सका। 80 मेगावाट टोटली यहाँ पे पीडीओ पैदा कर रहा है लोकली, और वो भी जो सर्दियों का सीजन है उसके अंदर पूरी तरीके से पैदा नहीं होती।
The Neelum-Jhelum Hydropower project, once seen as a great idea, has become a failure with missed chances and wasted resources. Despite spending billions, locals still face energy shortages and wonder why such a big project hasn't worked as expected.
As Muslims in Afghanistan prepare to observe Ramadan, millions of people in the war-torn country are struggling to secure their next meal, the United Nations warned on Sunday. In a post on X, the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs said that nearly 15 million Afghans are currently facing food insecurity, with 3.1 million suffering from acute hunger. Highlighting the dire situation, OCHA stated that more than $1 billion are needed to provide immediate humanitarian aid to those in need. However, only $9.9 million has been secured so far, leaving a massive funding gap. OCHA previously reported that in 2025, approximately 23 million people will require humanitarian assistance, necessitating a budget of $2.24 billion. While between January and October 2024, aid reached around 18 million people, providing food, healthcare and support for farmers, millions remain vulnerable. The arrival of Ramadan has intensified concerns over rising food prices and unemployment. Despite the hardship, local Afghans have called on the Taliban-led government to create job opportunities and reopen schools for girls. However, the administration remains internationally unrecognized, adding to the country's economic and social difficulties.
امروز نام خدا دیگه اول رمضان است دیگه کلگی دم جمع جور شده اول رمضان بخیر مصرف دکاندار مصرف دکانداری خود است مشتری مصرف خریداری خود است کسایی که بیکار هستن میان از شهر بازار تماشا میکنن.
Bangladesh Chief Advisor Muhammad Yunus on Sunday stressed documenting all atrocities committed during the regime of ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, including the crackdown on protesters and extrajudicial killings over the years. He made these remarks when Gwen Lewis, the United Nations Resident Coordinator in Bangladesh, and Huma Khan, the Senior Human Rights Advisor at the UN Resident Coordinator's Office in Bangladesh, called on him at the State Guest House, Jamuna. The Chief Advisor thanked the UN for its fact-finding report on human rights violations and abuses related to the July-August 2024 protest in Bangladesh. UN Secretary-General Guterres will visit Bangladesh on 13 to 16 March, according to the Chief Advisor's press wing. The visit of Guterres is expected to reinforce international focus on both Bangladesh human rights challenges and the ongoing humanitarian crisis faced by the Rohingya community. Weeks after Adani Green Energy withdrew from Sri Lanka, political backlash continues with opposition lawmakers criticizing the government's handling of the deal. Tamil MP Mano Ganeshan called the exit a major setback, warning it has sent negative signals to global investors. In a post on X, Ganeshan refuted claims that Sri Lanka dropped Adani, stating, "The truth is Adani dropped you." He emphasized that the project was not just for Sri Lanka's domestic energy needs, but also aimed at exporting power to India, which could have generated crucial revenue. Calling the move a big blunder, he warned that it has damaged Sri Lanka's reputation among foreign investors, particularly those who see India as a key regional partner. His concerns echo those of opposition leader Sajith Premadasa, who earlier warned that foreign investors are now hesitant to enter Sri Lanka. The 500 megawatt wind project, estimated at $1 billion, was approved in 2022 under the Gotabaya Rajapaksa administration. President Anura Kumara Dissanayake, who had promised to scrap the project before his September 2024 election, later showed interest in renegotiating it. However, Adani pulled out after the Sri Lankan government appointed 2 new committees to reassess the deal, citing uncertainty in the process. Nepali lawmakers on Sunday urged the government to formulate a rehabilitation plan for Nepali students who returned home from KIIT University in India as they raised concerns over their future following the abrupt departure from the university in February. The issue stems from the tragic suicide of Nepali student Prakriti Ramsal on February 16 in a hostel room, after which a protest was triggered by Nepali students demanding justice and the arrest of the individual responsible. The university administration's response led to further tensions as over 500 Nepali students were forced to leave the campus on February 17, with many transported to Cuttack railway station. Addressing the parliament, opposition lawmaker Madan Kumari Shah strongly criticized the university's handling of the situation, calling it tyrannical, unjust and inhuman towards the affected students, and asked the government about the information of the students who have returned back after the incident. Despite the university's decision to retract its expulsion order, a large number of Nepali students remain reluctant to return, fearing further repression. However, Nepal's Ministry of Education has admitted it lacks clear data on the exact number of Nepali students at KIIT before or after the incident.
भारतको ओडिसा राज्यको KIIT मा अध्ययनरत प्रकृति लम्सालको मृत्यु पश्चात नेपाली विद्यार्थीमाथि प्रशासन विश्वविद्यालय प्रशासनले जुन अत्याचार अन्याय अमानवीय व्यवहार गर्यो त्यसका विरुद्धमा भारतीय जनता विभिन्न विद्यार्थी संघ संगठनहरू र मिडियाले जसरी नेपाली विद्यार्थीहरूको पक्षमा साथ दिए आवाज उठाए त्यसको लागि म धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु र नेपाल फर्किएका विद्यार्थीहरूको बारेमा सरकारसँग के जानकारी छ उनीहरूको भविष्यको बारेमा सरकारले के योजना बनाइरहेको छ सम्माननीय अध्यक्षज्यू मार्फत त्यसको जवाब चाहन्छु धन्यवाद
Each year, thousands of Nepali students enroll in Indian institutions, many through government-issued no-objection certificates. In the current fiscal year alone, 66,000 students have obtained NOCs for studying abroad, including 4,373 for India. However, a significant number continue their education in India without formal approvals. The absence of official records has raised concerns about the Nepali government's ability to monitor and support its students abroad, particularly in times of crisis. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.